गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. We are in Pancadasi chapter 1 verse number 40. So here, verse 40 says, Tad vivekad viviktasyuhu, Tad vivekad viviktasyuhu, Kosha pranamanodhiyaha, Kosha pranamanodhiyaha, Tehi tatra gunavastha, Tehi tatra gunavastha, अभेदमात्रात् पृथक् कृताः अभेदमात्रात् पृथक् कृताः तद् विवेकाद् विविक्ताः स्युः कोशा प्राणमनोधियः ते हि तत्र गुणावस्थ अभेदमात्रात् पृथक् कृताः. By the discrimination of the subtle body, the vital air, mind and intellect sheets are included together because they are separated on the basis of the proportion of the three gunas. So here the teacher, the 40, it might be asked that why has the concept of Ling Sharira been brought in while dealing with the Panchakosha Vivek? Because Panchakosha is gross body, vital air body, mental sheath, mental body, intellectual body and causal body, isn't it? And the bliss sheath. These are the 5 sheaths. Then why suddenly you are bringing subtle body in between? That is not the point of discussion. Point of discussion is the 5 bodies, 5 sheaths. Why you are bringing the subtle body in between, the subtle sheath? So here the teacher says, by the subtle body we mean the vital air, the mind, the intellect. All these 3 are included together in the subtle body, and each one is coming because of the 3 gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas. So the intellect is coming because of the sattva guna, mind is coming because of the rajoguna, and the vital air is coming because of the tamas. And in this way the subtle body is composed or constituted of these 3, the 5 breaths, the mind and the intellect. Therefore the Anvaya Vatirek with reference to Ling Sharira includes the Anvaya Vatirek of the 3 koshas. So when we are, instead of naming this as vital air or the mind and the intellect, when we just say subtle body, and it means we have to give up subtle body. Instead of using too many words, we are using the word subtle body. And when we say we have to detach from the subtle body, it means you have to detach from the vital air, the mind and the intellect. Having separated the Atma from the gross body and the subtle body, now the causal body and the or Karana Sharira is taken up for discrimination. Remember, there are three ways of looking at these five sheaths. Five sheaths is the body sheath, the vital air sheath, the mental sheath, the intellectual sheath, and the bliss sheath. When we say speak in this language, it is five. These five can be divided in another way. It is the gross body, the subtle body, and the causal body. The gross body is this, the causal body is the bliss sheath. In between that three is left, that is the subtle body. Okay? So in this way, Shushuptyabhane bhanantu Samadhavatmanonvayah Samadhavatmanonvayah Vyatirekastvatmabhane Sushuptyanvabhasanam In Samadhi, Sushuptyabhane bhanantu samadhau atmano anvayah vyatirekah त्वात्म अभाने सुषुप्ति anavabhasanam. So, in Samadhi, the deep sleep state is absent. However, the Atman is present to illumine the Samadhi. This is called Anvaya of Atma in Samadhi. However, the deep sleep state is not included in the Atma. This is called Vyatirek of the deep sleep state. So what is it told? Vyatirek, remember, Vyatirek is I am not this, I am not this, I am not this. Anvaya means inclusion. Vyatirek means exclusion. So here, what is excluded and what is included out of the Atma? So here it is told that in the fourth state, which is the Samadhi state, in that state, the Atma Tattva is present, the self is present in the Samadhi, because Samadhi is a state. So in Samadhi, the self is present, so it is the Anvaya, it is inclusion of the Atma. But what is not present in Samadhi? The cognition of body, breath, mind, intellect is absent, isn't it? Including the bliss sheath. So all this is absent, so that will become the Vyatirek. Okay, here we are just talking about Sushupti. So it is the Vyatirek, means exclusion of the deep sleep, because one being aware of deep sleep is called he is in Samadhi. One not aware of his Atma is supposed to be in deep sleep, isn't it? We are analyzing the deep sleep here. So in this way, so both ways, Anvaya, inclusion of the self in Samadhi, and exclusion of the deep sleep. So if you are sleeping, you are not in Samadhi, in meditation. In this way, this is the process that is given by which one separates the self from the sheaths that are enveloping him or covering him. To separate, one is able to separate the Atma from the four states of Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti and Samadhi. Now the teacher cites Kathopanishad to support this technique. Yatha munjadishi kaivam jadishi kaivam atma yuktya samudhrutah atma yuktya samudhrutah शरीरत्रितया धीरैः परं ब्रह्मैव जायते. Just now caution is being given to us in this particular verse Just as the core of a munja grass is separated from the leafy portion, the Atma is separated from the three bodies by a wise person through proper technique to attain supreme Brahmanubhuti, to attain self-realization. What is munja grass? You know, these big grasses that you see, if you want to take the spine out, what do you have to do? You have to be very careful that the two soft part, firstly, it doesn't prick you, because those leaves have prickly, they prick you on the sides, and then holding that you don't break the main stem as you take it out from the middle of the leaf, isn't it? So similarly, this munja grass is like that. It is a traditional grass which is used in the Hindu culture, where they use it for the rituals, etc., and all that stuff. So as much care it is taken to take that, to separate that, same delicateness is required in order for seeker to separate himself from the body, from the four states, from the five bodies. Dhiraha param brahma eva jayate. And such a person who has done that, who has separated, such a person, he is not affected by anything in life, because he is established in the self. And he attains the knowledge that I am essentially of the nature of Brahman. This is not knowledge that is told by or to someone, but it happens. This we say it so many times, that the realization, if we say we had a glimpse in meditation, we had this, we had that, so many things we say, but you are still there. Once you have that, once it happens, then after that you no longer will be the way you know yourself right now. Your whole perception of the whole world will, and yourself, everything will change. See? So don't get lost in experiences. Come to this direct experience of the truth. So here Swamiji says that firstly the importance of a systematic approach is required, that you must have the clarity, and clarity of the process, clarity of the goal, and the faith that you will get there. And the second, that discrimination should be based on knowledge. Yes, faith on the knowledge, that what knowledge I am getting through the scriptures is the right one, and it will lead me to the destination. This clarity of thought, determination of priorities, strength of action, and an unwavering focus on the true goal of one's life mark the man of wisdom, the Dhira Purusha. And it is he who is able to transcend the four avasthas and attain Parama Brahmatva. He is able to transcend the four states. What were the four states? Waking, dream, sleep, deep sleep, and the samadhi. All the four. And in this way, in the shloka 32, reference was made to the Upadesha, which the seeker receives from the Acharya. This Upadesha is of the Mahavakya Tattvamasi. This Upadesha begins from shloka 43. So in between he was just explaining all this, and now he's gone back to the verse 32, where thou art that was told to the disciple. So here it goes. Para paratmano revam parat yuktya sambhavitaikata tatvamasyadivakyaiса bhagatyagena lakshate para paratmanorevam yuktya sambhavitaikata तत्त्वमस्यादि वाक्यैः bhagatyagena lakshate. In this way, the oneness of the Jivatma and Paramatma is logically established by the Tattvamasi Mahavakya, by the technique of Bhagatagya, is Bhagatyaga is being indicated. And here he says that this through the statement of truth called Tattvamasi, that thou art that, what is indicated is the union between Jivatma, the individual, and the Paramatma, the infinite. And, and how it is being indicated? Logically and conclusively. There should be no doubt in the seeker's mind as regards what his true identity is. This identity is established by Mahavakyas such as Tattvamasi by the process of rejecting all those attributes which do not belong to the Atma. When we see in Amrita Anubhav also, there all the attributes of the truth are being removed. Even Satchidananda, it was told, you are this truth is existence, consciousness, bliss. There he is refuting that also. He says existence, consciousness and bliss is being spoken of in words about the reality which cannot be talked about, because not because we want to prove reality is, but because we don't want your mind to get caught up in non-existence, ignorance and in sorrow. So same idea is presented here, and rejecting irrelevant part and retaining appropriate part is called Bhagatyaga. Bhagatyaga, I was making juice, I was taking carrots, top end, bottom end, cut and keep the rest. So what was important, what was required I kept, what was not required I threw away. That is Bhagatyaga. So when we are talking about self-enquiry, whatever helps, we keep. Whatever does not is not conducive to our inquiry, we discard. Now in this next 3 verses, the meaning of Tattvamasi is being told. The meaning of each word in the Tattvamasi Mahavakya is now explained. The first one is Tat. Tat, that. Then it will be Tvam and the last will be Asi. Jagato yadupadanam Maya madaya tamasim Nimittam shuddha sattvam Tamuchyate brahma tadgira Jagato yadupadanam maya madaya tamasim nimittam shuddha sasattvanam tamuchyate brahma tadgira. The Brahman in association with the tamoguni maya is the material cause of the world and is the efficient cause in association with the sattva guni maya is meant by the word tat in the Tattvamasi Mahavakya. What does the word tat mean? Tat means the one who is the Ishvara, the Lord, or that reality. So here the Brahman which is the material cause of this gross universe, how it has become the material cause? By associating with the tamas aspect of Maya. Therefore he has become the creator of the material cause of the universe. Is it possible for the reality to become the material cause? No. Then why are we talking about it? Because we as an individual, as a conditioned entity, as a limited entity, we believe there is a world, we have this notion that there is a universe, we have a feeling that there is some higher entity, an X factor, which is the there must be a cause, and that must be the cause. So how did that reality become the cause? It became the cause by invoking the potentiality within itself, and that potentiality then, when it expressed as sattva, rajas, tamas, and that reality, when it associated with tamas, it became the material cause of the universe. Tam shuddha sattvam nimittam, the same Brahman, which is the efficient cause of the world, when associated with the sattva guni maya, becomes the creator or Ishvara. So that same reality, which is attributeless and formless, when it invoked this potentiality, we told you sattva, rajas, tamas, maya was there, maya expressed as sattva, rajas, tamas. When that Brahman associates with tamas, he is called the material cause of the universe, and when he associates with the sattva guna, he becomes the efficient cause. Because if this is the effect, there has to be a maker and there has to be a material out of which this creation is made. So who is the creator and what is the material? It is the same Brahman. Brahman itself is the material cause, the Brahman itself is the efficient cause. But why do we call them as material cause and the efficient cause? With respect to tamas and sattva. In this way, the word tat means the non-dual, efficient and material cause of the world. Abhinna nimitta upadana karana tat vastu. Now the meaning of the word tvam is indicated in the next 45th verse. Yada malina sattvam tam sattvam tvam kama karmadi dushitam adatte tatparam brahma tvam padena tadochyate yada malina sattvam tam kama karmadi dushitam adatte tatparam brahma tvam padena tadochyate. When the Param Brahma, the Brahman associated with Maya, that is contaminated by the effects of Rajoguna, desire, action, etc., is referred by the word Tvam. So here, Yada Malina Sattvam. So what is this Malina Sattvam? Remember, Tamas went into making the material cause, isn't it? With sattva, he became the Ishvara. Now we are talking about where did you come from. So when this sattva becomes impure because of the introduction of rajas. So what is the equation now? It is not 60% sattva and 40% rajas. No, it is 40% sattva and 60% rajas. So or more, even a little bit also, because even if a little bit is there, Ishvara cannot, because Brahman associated with Shuddha Sattva is called Ishvara, not just Sattva. So here we are talking about the Sattva Guna, the purity which is contaminated by dynamism. And what is that dynamism? Kama and karma. It is desires and action. Avidya, kama, karma. These are the three. Out of it, because we are ignorant of our own essential nature, so we have desires, and those desires prompt us to act in life, isn't it? So, what is this rajas? Rajas is dynamism. Dynamism is movement, activity, and activity not only at the level of desires but also at the level of body. When the Brahman as if gets identified with this aspect of Maya, which is Sattva associated with more Rajas, it is called the individual. So what do you have? Now you be very careful. So now what do you have to do to be one with the Ishvara? Remove the Rajas aspect of it, isn't it? And that is what is told here. It is not told to remove the Rajas, it is just told that you are the one who is. What is your cause? Your cause is Brahman associated with Maya, which is expressing as Sattva contaminated with dynamism, with Kama and Karma, desire and actions. And that is what you are. So essentially you are Brahman. But because your attention is on the impurity, on which is nothing but the dynamic aspect of the Maya, and therefore you are unable to recognize yourself. And in this way, so such a conditioned Brahman by Malina Sattva, by impure purity, is called in the Tvam aspect of the Tattvamasi. Now what is Asi? That is told in the 46th verse. Now the significance of the Asi Pada is explained. Tritayimapi tam muktva Tritayimapi muktva Paraspara virodhinim Akhandam Satchidanandam Mahavakyena lakshate. This is a beautifully told. Tritayim api tam muktva paraspara virodhinim akhandam satchidanandam mahavakyena lakshate. When the Brahman, freed from the limitations of mutually opposing three types of Maya, by Tat Tvam Asi Mahavakya Viveka, the identity between them is of being undivided, non-dual. Satchidananda is established by the Asi word of the Mahavakya. So when the impurity is removed, then what happens? Whatever is left behind, that is explained or that is indicated by the word Asi, are. You are that essentially. So all these Sattva Guna, Raja Guna, Tamas Guna, they are all fighting with each other for importance. Sometimes, right now, you have come here for feeding your Sattva Guna, feeding your intellect. Sometimes in between, the Rajoguna come and become more prominent, or body ache begins and tamas becomes more prominent. So this continuously, you can never be only in Sattva, only in Rajas, only in Tamas till you have not prepared yourself. So continuously you are fluctuating between the three all the time. And here that is what is told, that when Brahma is freed, can Brahman be freed? He is already free. But it's just a matter of speaking, that when Brahman is freed from the clutches of these Maya, when the Brahman is thus separated, what remains? Akhandam Satchidanandam Mahavakyena Lakshate. After all these three, like these three legs, when they all balance out, then what remains? That infinite, Akhandam, continuous conscious bliss. That is what remains. And that is indicated by the word asi. Asi is the word. It comes from as dhatu. Third person singular. The asitva, oneness, beingness, this beingness is akhandam, and this is your nature, you being yourself, not attached. Now there is no question of attached also. You have become you in the essence, whatever is your essence. When it stops getting affected by the body, stops getting affected by the subtle body, stops getting affected by the, I shouldn't say subtle body and body, stops getting affected by tamas, rajas and sattva. They come into balance because what has happened? He has become witness. Then what is this witness of the nature of? He is of the nature of Satchidanandam. And this witness is the eternal witness. It is not a witness who comes and goes. He is eternal witness. Recognize this. And you have been going through all your whole life, you have been watching. That's why you can make a comment what thoughts came, what dream came, what type of sleep you had yesterday. How did you make that statement about yesterday? Because you must have been an observer at that time when they were going on. Isn't it? If I go into the past, 10 minutes ago, I was watering the plants. Isn't it? How do I know I was watering the plants? Now I am doing this. Already time is over. So on one side, one part is the functional eye and the other is the witness eye. It knows what is going on all the time. It knows because it knows the memory, it cannot be the memories, isn't it? So how do you know your past? By knowing it. For knowing the past, there has to be a knower. And knower and known cannot be one initially, till you recognize in Anvaya. They cannot be one. So recognize that I am the real owner. Don't get identified with anyone. And this eternal knower or this eternal witness is akhanda, it's continuous, it is unbroken. And it is the one which is the support of the entire creation. And where is our creation? How do we know the creation? But what is our experience of the creation? Waking creation, dream creation and deep sleep creation. These are the only three creations that we know.
Swamiji, Maya, the English word is illusion, isn't it?
No.
No.
Illusion is not complete definition. Maya means that which appears and yet is not appearing.
Like a rainbow or something.
Yeah. So what is that which is making something appear and yet that power is called Maya. That which is continuously changing is Maya. That which is continuously changing is called Maya. That which makes a thing appear to be other than what it is Maya.
The power that which makes it to appear, it is Maya, but that power is unchangeable, isn't it? Unchangeable.
That power is Maya. At the relative level, that power is Maya. So what is that which makes you see, touch, feel, taste water but call it wave? That is Maya. What is that which makes someone see you, they know you are a human being like anyone else, but they call you Papa, husband, brother. That power is Maya. So they are seeing a man, but they are calling him different names. Does this Maya exist? Yes and no. Does space exist? Yes and no. Does sunrise exist? Does sunrise exist? Even he doesn't want to answer. Yes and no. Eyes are seeing it rising, but you know, intellect knows there is nothing called sun never rises, isn't it? But eyes are seeing that there is a sun rising. So this, eyes are seeing something, but the intellect knows something else. This is Maya. Eyes are seeing water, but the mind says it is a wave, Maya.
Just close to illusions.
Close to illusion, yes. Incomplete knowledge. Because by the word illusion, lot of confusions have been created. We will say incomplete knowledge. Where are we? How does the removal of the conditionings establish the oneness as discussed in the 47th shloka? Soyametyadi vakyeshu virodhat tadidantayoho tyagena bhagayorekah आश्रयो लक्ष्यते यथा सोयम इत्यादि वाक्येषु विरोधात् तदिदन्तयोः त्यागेन भागयोरेकः आश्रयो लक्ष्यते तथा. In the sentence like this is that Devadatta, the opposing this and that are rejected, while their support Devadatta is indicated by arriving at the substratum. So take the example of the Devadatta. What was the example of the Devadatta? The 10th person. One of the places we have seen. The 10th person was missing. And the wise man said, this is that 10th person. The moment he said this, he is indicating you. He is saying that, he is indicating you. And he is saying the 10th person also indicating you. Which one of you are here? Are you out of these three? This is also, so when we say you are that reality, so you also are the same person, that is also the same person, reality also is the same person, isn't it? But which person we are talking about? We are talking about the supreme most person, not the individual person. So here, that is the way they have explained that this and that both refer to the same person, which apparently appears to be contradictory. Why contradictory? How can this be that? What is this? What is the difference between this and that? You know?
Subjectivity and objectivity. But
This is something closer to you, and that is something further away from you. So here, this is also you, that is also you, reality also is you, or Devadatta is also you. See? And that is what the Tattvamasi. So you are, that is you is you, and Asi, which represents the reality, is also you. So actually, Tat, Tvam, Asi, the three words, or when they say this is that Devadatta or this is that Louis, when we use this word, all the words are indicating the same person. All the words are indicating the same person. There is no other third person. So in this way, the intention is to reject the conditionings of time, space and objectivity. Objectivity and of paristhiti and that and this condition, and to establish that that and this refer to the same person. So where are this and that? So you and that. There are two words. They must be representing someone. But here they are both, substratum is one and the same. Both are indicating the same person. Normally it is not like that, isn't it? So you are that fool. Now, so you are that. So you is also supported by the reality. That is also supported by the reality. And the Asi, Tattvamasi, Asi is indicating that reality. So all are, and this way we come to the conclusion. Bhagayoho eka ashraya lakshate. That means the support of all the three is one and the same. In this way, Tattvamasi Mahavakya is with reference to the material and efficient cause of the world, and Tvam is the conditioning of the Malina Sattva. When the conditioning of Tat and Tvam are rejected, and one discovers that Tat and Tvam are both nothing but the Akhanda Satchidananda. So, Tvam is that individuality, Tat is that you can say the totality also. And when both, see, you, as much as important it is to drop the impurity of dynamism in you, equally important is to drop the conditioning of pure sattva at the totality level. Because who is Ishvara? Brahman associated with pure sattva, Shuddha sattva. And who is individual? Brahman associated with impure sattva. These are the two differences. So impurity has to be dropped for both. We don't want to go to Ishvara. We want to go to Brahman. If you drop the impurity, all that will happen is you will reach the stage of Ishvara. But we want to go beyond that. We want to know the formless, attributeless reality. We want to know the causeless reality. We want to know the causeless reality. Understand, Ishvara, like these three legs are there, Ishvara cannot exist by himself. He has only when there is a world and there is an individual that the Ishvara can exist. World cannot exist without Ishvara and Jiva. And Jiva cannot exist without Ishvara and Jagat, the world. So understand, when you purify the dynamism out of your system, what happens?
Jiva becomes Ishvara.
Okay, stop. Cannot become Ishvara. Because Ishvara is existing as a principle because there is Jiva and Jagat, isn't it? But if Jiva itself is not there, then everything collapses. And the moment it collapses, the Jiva discovers himself to be nothing but the reality. You getting this point?
So pure sattva doesn't have to be dropped. It drops on its own.
It drops on its own. Correct. All you have to do is purify yourself. But if you have a concept that I must go through various stages, then you are going more and more and more sattvic, isn't it? But this point is very, very important, that Ishvara, Jeev and Jagat, these three are supporting each other. Any one of them cannot exist independently. Cannot exist independently. So the moment we come to purify ourselves, the whole system collapses. Then there is no Jagat, and there is you transcend Jagat and you transcend Ishvara also. Because then you realize everything is nothing but that one without a second reality. It is a homogeneous mass of conscious bliss.
So Brahman then is above Ishvara.
Huh?
Brahman.
When we explain like this, actually Brahman is one without a second, so there cannot be anything else but Brahman. There cannot be anything else but water. But in the water there is ocean, isn't it? So similarly, in the Brahman, we have imagined something called Ishvara. The moment Ishvara comes, there is Jeev and Jagat. The moment ocean comes, there will be waves. Isn't it? So this way the analogy is taken. But because we are talking about all these things, does not mean that all these things exist. There is only one reality. But we have believed in our mind for so many ages before, in previous births, in this birth, that's why we are born to such parents or in such society or get attracted to such contemplations. So we must have studied it before. Our mind is zapped with this type of knowledge before we took birth here. Huh? See? So these concepts are there, deeply ingrained in our psyche. All of them have to be systematically, logically dropped at the altar of the reality. See? And how do you drop at the altar of reality? You are the subject. Stop getting identified with the conditionings, and you will be there. The example of Devdatta is now applied to the Mahavakya. Maya vidye vihayaivam. Maya vidye vihayaivam. Upadhi parajivayoho. Jivayoho. Akhandam Satchidanandam.
Akhandam Satchidanandam.
Parabrahmaiva lakshate. Brahmaiva lakshate. In the same way, when the conditionings of Jiva and Ishvara, namely Avidya and Maya, are rejected, the substratum which is non-dual, infinite conscious existence, the Parabrahma, indeed is indicated. So because of ignorance, who came? Because we consider ourselves to be intelligent. So because of ignorance, who appeared? The individual. Because of Maya, who appeared? Ishvara. Without Maya, Ishvara cannot appear. And without ignorance, individual cannot appear. So these are parallels that are going on. At the gross body level, remember we say the reality expressing at the individual gross body level, it is called Vishwa. At the total gross body level, the reality expressing is called Vaishwanara. At the individual subtle body level, the reality expressing is called Taijasa. At the total subtle body level, the reality expressing is called Hiranyagarbha. The individual reality expressing at the individual causal body level is called Prajna. And the reality expressing at the total causal body level, which is called Maya, it is called Ishvara. This is the parallels between individual and the Ishvara, Jiva and Ishvara. But both, the moment you remove avidya, the moment you remove ignorance, we are not talking about removing Maya, the moment you remove ignorance, then all this what I just explained will vanish, isn't it? Because Maya, Ishvara, etc., all these are a part of our vocabulary, are a part of our thought constructs. When ignorance has been removed, then there is no thought, there is no concepts. Then only you are. In this way, contemplate. What's the time, please? I don't have a watch with me.
It's 8:30. 8:32.
In this way, when the Maya and Avidya conditionings of Paramatma and Jivatma are rejected or denied, the Akhanda Satchidananda, which is of the nature of Parabrahma, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, this nature of Parabrahma is indicated. The Jivatma can never become Ishvara and vice versa. Jivatma can never become Ishvara. You understand why? You understand why? Why the individual cannot become the Ishvara?
And because the Trikuti will dissolve.
It's the duality.
Huh?
The duality of Maya.
No. I just explained to you.
Because once it...
Why can the Jiva, the individual, cannot become Ishvara? Because the moment the Jiva removes the ignorance, that ignorance includes the idea of Maya. And that also, so there is no question of anything left behind except himself. Then the concept of any concept is all dropped away. Another way of putting it is Jiva, Ishvara and Jagat. Individual, the total Ishvara and the world. They are mutually helping each other to exist. If any one of them, if the world is not there, Jiva and Ishvara have got no purpose. If Ishvara is not there, Jiva and Jagat, they have got no purpose. If Jiva is not there, Ishvara and Prakriti have got no purpose. Right? Understand this. So, the moment Jiva purifies himself completely,
Only Brahman.
then
He goes straight.
then automatically Ishvara, the idea of Ishvara and the Jagat, the world, they also vanish. At that very moment, only one without a second reality remains. Only one without a second reality. The Jivatma, after due sadhana, discards both his own limitation as well as those of Ishwaratva and comes to discover being the substratum, the Parabrahma Paramatma. Here it is written that as well as those of Ishwaratva. He cannot drop Ishwaratva because Ishwaratva is existing only as long as he is there thinking of Ishvara. The moment he stops thinking of Ishvara, I don't want to say Ishvara is not there. Otherwise it can be, Ishvara is what do you call? The
Is another...
formless, attributeless reality which is Paramatma, and his expression of Ishvara is always there. It cannot be removed. It cannot be removed. But what will happen is, just like a wise man, once he realizes, he continues to function through his equipments, but he is not attached to them, isn't it? Ishvara is he. Who is Ishvara? Who is not attached to his Prakriti, to the Maya. Therefore he is. So this individual who has given up ignorance, what is the ignorance? The attachment, the concepts, the ideas. That very moment he also rises. Will they all go away? No, they will still be there. But he is not affected by them. Just like Ishvara. Who is Ishvara? Again, I cannot say this is the answer or that is the answer or this is the answer. You have to, all the three standpoints I am giving, and you have to intuit. Who is Ishvara? Ishvara knows that he is the reality and yet expressing as Ishvara in relation to Maya. Remember when we did Shiva Shakti Samavesh? Who is Shiva? Shiva is he who knows that he is Paramashiva But at the same time, he is he knows that he is being called as Shiva because of his relation to the Shakti. And Shakti is not other than Shiva. Shakti is not other than Shiva. So that knowledge Ishvara has, individual doesn't have. When individual has it, then he knows that he is Brahman. Ishvara doesn't go around declaring that I am Brahman, I am Brahman, I am Brahman. So also not a realized master. Now a peculiar doubt is raised as to whether the Parabrahman is Savikalpa or Nirvikalpa, or that is with or without modification. And that is taken up in the next 2-3 verses. Savikalpasya lakshatve
Savikalpasya lakshatve
lakshyasya syadavastuta
Lakshyasya
vastuta nirvikalpasya lakshatvam
Nirvikalpasya lakshyatvam
na drushtam na cha sambhavi.
Na drishtam na cha sambhavi.
The indication of Brahman with modifications by the Mahavakya is not possible. The modifications being ever changing, nor we can imagine to investigate the Brahman which is neither seen nor thought of. So here a doubt is being raised. What is that? That by the Tattvamasi Mahavakya, the Parabrahma was indicated as Akhandam, as continuous, and Satchidanandam, that is existence, consciousness and bliss. Now, is this Brahman, is this immutable reality, is it Savikalpa or Nirvikalpa? Hey! Is it Savikalpa or Nirvikalpa? Savikalpa means with thought, Nirvikalpa is without thought construct. Which one is it? If we say that Tattvamasi Mahavakya refers to the Savikalpa Brahman with its modifications, these modifications will keep changing, isn't it? Because what is Savikalpa? Reality. Savikalpa is with a thought. Savikalpa. Sa means with. Vikalpa is the thought or the thought construct. But thoughts never remain the same. They keep changing, isn't it? Then how can he be Brahman? So here he says that will keep changing, and that which is constantly changing cannot be talked of as the continuous thing, akhanda. It cannot be called akhanda. So in the Tattvamasi Mahavakya, the Brahman that is being told about, he is not Savikalpa. Is he Nirvikalpa? Students come up with funny doubts. So is he Nirvikalpa? Oh, so you mean to say if he is not Savikalpa with thought construct, he must be without thought construct, the reality. So he says, if he is without thought construct, then he cannot be known. Because there is no thought. So is there Brahman? Or is there no Brahman? But here the student has asked, now the teacher has to answer. We will never think on our own such questions. So Nirvikalpa means that which is not associated to any modifications. If there are no thought constructs in the mind, then who will come to know whom? Then such a Brahman cannot be perceived or conceived or known because there is no frame of reference. Why this problem is coming, you know? Objectivity. Because the student is trying to work out in his mind that he's still in his mind. And therefore in his mind he is asking, is it subjective or objective? If I still have a mind, if it is not subjective or objective, with savikalpa or vikalpa. If it is savikalpa, I cannot accept that that is a Brahman, because vikalpas are continuously changing. And if it is nirvikalpa, then I will not come to know. And I want to know. So in this way, he is not confused, but he is asking. So here, when this type of question only appears when, as long as we are one step below the abidance, one step below or before it happens, these type of questions will appear. The teacher replies, to this doubt in a sarcastic vein. So our understanding is the reality cannot become the object of knowledge, because the subject is also me and the reality is also nothing, not other than the subject. What is the seeker seeking? The seeker is seeking the reality which is not other than himself, but which is free of all modifications, which is free of all conditionings. Vikalpo nirvikalpasya
Vikalpo nirvikalpasya
savikalpasya va bhavet
savikalpasya va bhavet
adye vyahatiranyatra
aye vyahatiram
अन्यत्र अनवस्थात्म आश्रयादयः विकल्पो निर्विकल्पस्य सविकल्पस्य वा भवेत् आद्ये व्याहतिरन्यत्र अनवस्थात्माश्रयादयः. Are we talking about modifications of the Brahman, which is without modifications or with modifications? If it is about the former, it is self-cancelled, and in latter case, the fallacies like mutual dependence, self-dependence, etc. will result. And in this way, मैं उसके लिए दरवाज़ा खोल दो. She is running around here and there. And in this way, the teacher replies this doubt in this shloka and the next shloka. What is that? Just like when we say, I do not have a tongue. How did you speak? Without a tongue, can you speak? But you make such type of statements. So this is called vyahati dosha. And impossible doubt, like this example, to say such a statement, one should have a tongue, and if one did not have the tongue, such a statement could not have been said. This is a repetitious statement because savikalpa itself means with modifications. This falls under the category of anavastha dosha, the fallacy of mutual dependence. Brahman is beyond the limitations of all kinds. The use of savikalpa etc. will lead to other fallacies like self-dependence, circular logic, or infinite regress, etc. Therefore, this doubt has no basis. It is only the result of confusion in usage of words. So one must not go into this type of inquiry that it is can be known through savikalpa samadhi or nirvikalpa samadhi. No. It cannot be known through anything. Why? Reality is self-existing. It doesn't need any means to be known. And in this way, the teacher gives the explanation again in the next verse. Idam guna kriya jati idam guna kriya jati dravya sambandha vastushu samam tena swarupasya sarvametaditi shyatam. He says, these fallacies are of similar nature as we can see with reference to attribute, action, type, object, relationship with the object. Therefore, the same should be understood with reference to the Brahman also. These type of doshas are seen with reference to objects like quality. Quality is not quality does not have an object. Action does not have an object. Type, object and relationship are similar. These words cannot be associated with any object. Should we say that the attribute is attributeless or that which is already with attributes? Should we say that the action is actionless or one with action? In these examples, in the former case, it is self-contradiction fallacy, while the fallacy like self-dependence, etc. in the latter alternative. So, when we say that when we say attribute is attributeless, so what are we talking about? Cannot be, na? Action is actionless. Action cannot be actionless. Action itself means correct. So action. Now you will say, suddenly you will say, oh, but there is an actor who is doing the action. No, don't go into that example, that far. They are trying to prove that reality is without any conditionings, without any modifications, without any words being able to explain it. So it cannot be savikalpa and nirvikalpa also. Why? Because it is self-existing. And these type of doubts sometimes we see on tables after lunch, after dinner, people are talking and they keep going in circle in the discussion, but never come to the ultimate conclusion. And this is the reason. In the same way, the usage of words like savikalpa and nirvikalpa is of no relevance with reference to Brahman. Why? Brahman is self-existing, and that I am or that you are. The conclusion from the above discussion is vikalpatada bhavabhyam asamsprushtatma vastuni vikalpitatva lakshatva sambandhadyastu kalpitaha. The presence or absence of the modifications do not touch the pure self, the reality, the Brahman. The relationship of association with modifications, indication of the Brahman, the relative existence of Ishvara, Jiva are all superimposed on the Parabrahman. This conclusion we have already come to before when I was explaining the three. That Jiva, Ishvara, Maya, Avidya, that means Jiva, Ishvara, Maya and ignorance, and also Savikalpa, Nirvikalpa and the word Brahman itself. All these are superimpositions on that one reality which cannot be even talked about. So never forget this basic premise, that we are seeking in ignorance. And what are we using? We are using words. And we are using such words so that our ignorance can be removed. Initially, gross ignorance is removed, then subtle ignorance is removed, and as we go through, eventually we choose such words by which our attention is on that reality, and by the grace of it, the final ignorance is also removed. Then what is remaining? Will you call it Brahman? It was called Brahman only till you were in the mind. Now mind itself is not there because the impurity is cleared. Then what will remain? Whatever is. Who is speaking right now? The mind is speaking. So for the mind we will use the word reality. That what you once everything is removed, what remains? You can call it reality. We call it Brahman. We call it by different names. So this basic understanding has to be there. Otherwise there will be huge confusion. We get lost in the words otherwise. And our purpose is not to be lost in the words. Our purpose is to know the reality and be the reality. So whether we talk about Brahman with modifications who expresses as Ishvara and Jiva, or we talk about Brahman without modifications, both are concepts of the intellect only. And in this way, Tattvamasi Lakshartha does not give any importance either to the Samashti Ishwaratva or Vyashti Jivatva. Means it does not give any importance to totality or individuality. Tattvamasi Mahavakya takes you straight to the reality. Totality and individuality, finite and infinite are two concepts supporting each other. If there is no finite, there cannot be any infinite. Same way, Jiva and Ishvara are supporting each other. If there is no Jiva, there cannot be any Ishvara as a person. But this word Tattvamasi Mahavakya, Tattvam Asi, you are that, it indicates the feelings of the individual and the total are imagined and superimposed on the substratum of the Brahman or the reality. And why are we doing that? It's out of ignorance. Right now we find ourselves to be under the clutches of modifications. And that is, what is this ignorance? Ignorance is about ourselves. I have forgotten myself, therefore I imagine that I am an individual, isn't it? If I know myself, then there is no question of searching for myself. I have forgotten myself. So that self-forgetfulness is called ignorance, which results in desires and which in turn result in activity, which we find ourselves caught up in. So this whole process of going back is being indicated, and we bypass the once the individuality is eradicated, same moment totality also does not exist. And in this way, Jivatva and Ishwaratva, being of relative existence, have no meaning in the absolute Satchidananda Akhanda Brahman. That the Jivatva and the Ishwaratva, the individuality and the totality, they have got no meaning in the continuous experience of the reality. This is what is told. And now we are in the 52nd verse. Now a new topic will begin, and here what is Shravanam, Mananam and Nididhyasanam, that will be told. Next verse is about Shravanam. We will see that in our next class. So in this way, what are we doing here? We are doing the discriminating, through discrimination coming to know the reality. That's what we are involved in. We'll sit in meditation for 5 minutes. Oh. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari